The day everything changed for Marcus Hale began with a decision he'd sworn he would never reverse. He was done, absolutely done, helping strangers. Too many times he had stopped, stepped in, offered a hand, only to be burned, used, or left feeling foolish. He had promised himself he would walk past the next person in need, no matter what. And that promise held strong. Right up until that tiny, trembling voice cut through the noise of the busy Seattle sidewalk and shattered every wall he thought he had built. Before diving deeper, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Marcus had left his apartment that crisp morning with his 5-year-old son Connor, determined to clear his head. The boy's small hand fit into his like a warm reminder of what still mattered, even when the world felt cold. Ever since Marcus's divorce a year earlier, Connor had been his anchor. But the struggle to rebuild his life, emotionally and financially, had drained him in ways he rarely admitted. He worked long hours in IT support, barely slept, and had no one he truly opened up to. So when he saw a woman sitting on the concrete steps outside a quiet office building, Marcus forced himself not to look twice. Her shoulders were trembling, and she seemed to be fighting for breath, but he kept walking, jaw clenched, eyes forward. His heart thudded with guilt, but he reminded himself of every time he'd been taken advantage of. Every time he'd offered help only to be met with manipulation or ungratefulness. Not today, not ever again. But Connor tugged at his hand. Hard. Marcus looked down and found his son staring back toward the woman. The boy's big blue eyes were full of concern, deeper than any 5-year-old should carry. He turned again, just a glance, but this time he noticed how pale the woman's face was, how she was clutching her chest as if holding herself together. Still, Marcus whispered inside his mind, no, not again. Keep walking. He took another step. Then came the voice, small, fragile, breaking mid-sentence. Mommy can't move. Marcus froze. He turned sharply, and only then did he see her, a little girl, maybe 4, standing half-hidden behind a column. She was staring at the woman on the steps, her mother, with tears streaking down her cheeks. The fear in that child's expression wasn't something Marcus could ever walk away from. Not now, not ever. His promise dissolved instantly. He knelt down in front of the little girl, keeping his voice steady even though his pulse was pounding. Marcus asked if her mom was hurt. The girl nodded, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. Marcus looked at the woman once more and realized this wasn't someone pretending or manipulating or putting on a show. Something was genuinely wrong. He told Connor to stand beside him, then approached the woman slowly. Up close, he saw she was shivering. Her skin had lost its color and her breathing was shallow. She wasn't crying, but she looked like someone who couldn't find the strength to fight anymore. Marcus felt panic rising inside him, but he pushed it down. He used to volunteer for emergency support training at his old job, long before his divorce and burnout. He still remembered enough to recognize distress signals. He gently asked if she could hear him, and she nodded weakly. When he asked what happened, she whispered that she had been dizzy for days but couldn't afford to take time off from work or go to the doctor. Her name was Rachel, a name Marcus would never forget after this day. He called 911 immediately. As they waited, Marcus sat beside her on the cold concrete, not caring that the morning wind bit through his shirt. Connor sat at his side quietly, while the little girl, Sophia, crawled into her mother's lap and clung to her like a life preserver. Marcus could see the shame in Rachel's eyes as she tried to apologize for causing trouble, insisting she would be fine. But her shaking hands told a different story. When the ambulance arrived, Rachel nearly collapsed trying to stand. Marcus steadied her without hesitation. Paramedics took over, asking questions Marcus did his best to answer, while the little girl refused to let go of her mother's arm. Eventually, Rachel was lifted into the ambulance. Sophia began to cry harder, terrified, reaching out with both hands. Marcus didn't think, he simply acted. He told the paramedics he would follow them to the hospital and that he would bring Sophia with him so she wouldn't be alone. They agreed, grateful someone was stepping in. At the hospital, doctors determined Rachel had been dealing with a combination of severe dehydration, exhaustion, and untreated anemia. They told Marcus she was lucky someone called when they did. Pushing through another day could have ended very differently. When Sophia heard that, she crawled onto the hospital bed and hugged her mother like she might never let go. Marcus felt something shift in him, something he thought he had lost the ability to feel. Over the next few hours, while Rachel slept under medical care, Marcus took care of Sophia and Connor in the waiting room. He bought them snacks, told them silly stories, even let them draw on printer paper with pens borrowed from the front desk. Watching the two kids laugh together made something melt inside him, something he had kept frozen for too long. When Rachel finally woke, she saw Marcus still there, still watching over her daughter, and tears filled her eyes. She thanked him over and over, her voice catching with emotion. She admitted she had no one else to call, no family nearby, no partner, no safety net. She had been trying so hard to hold herself together for Sophia that she didn't notice how dangerously close she came to collapsing completely. Marcus understood more than she knew. That night, after Rachel was discharged with medication and instructions to rest, Marcus offered to drive her and Sophia home. She insisted she didn't want to burden him any further, but Marcus shook his head. This wasn't a burden. This was the right thing to do. As he helped her to her apartment door, Rachel whispered that she didn't know how to thank him. Marcus simply told her to get better, for Sophia, for herself. As he walked back to his car with Connor asleep in his arms, Marcus realized his perspective had changed forever. Not every stranger would hurt him. Not everyone was out to use him. Sometimes, helping just one person, one real hurting human being, could be the very thing that healed him too. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so more people can experience the power of compassion. Before the story ends, take a moment to comment below. What would you have done if you heard that little voice say, "Mommy can't move"? In the days that followed, Rachel and Sophia became unexpected parts of Marcus's life, a reminder that kindness, even when given reluctantly at first, has a way of returning with quiet, transformative strength. And every time Marcus remembered that trembling little voice, he felt grateful he had listened.